Hello, everyone! If you regularly invest your time and energy into comparing Excel files to be sure that important data did not get changed and will not break your calculations, then this video is for you. If other people can edit your workbook or you get input from others, you may wonder what they changed. There are 4 differences in my new file as compared to the old one. The first one is a shifted team column. The second is a date formatting as a number. The third is a duplicated row. And the fourth is a wrong team name. To recognize such changes, I will show you 3 methods with rising level of automation. The first method is just manual comparison of the 2 files. But even here, you don't need to constantly click back and forth between the files. Just open both of them at the same time, and in the View tab, activate View Side by Side. Now you can see both files on the screen. If synchronous scrolling is active, then you can scroll both files at the same time. At first glance, it is visible that the team column got moved. But checking every row for differences would be very time-consuming. So let's look at a better way to do this. For the next method, I will use a blank workbook and a powerful tool called Get and Transform or Power Query, which is used to import, clean, and reshape data from various sources and can automate repetitive data preparation tasks. Power Query can actually replace using multiple complex formulas. First, let's load the data into Power Query. Choose Get Data from File, from Excel Workbook, and choose the old file, and import. The data range in my file was formatted as a table, called Fact Call Sales, so I will choose it. But I also could have chosen Sheet 1, on which the table is. Let's load this data, but only create a connection, because I don't want to view the table itself again. Let's repeat the steps for the other file with the new data. In the Data tab, under Queries and Connections, double-click on the query to open the Power Query editor. Both queries are visible in the Queries pane on the left. In the current view, you can see a preview of the data for the query. There are many transformation options for the data on the ribbon, and every time they get applied, the steps get recorded in Query Settings on the right. So there is no undo feature. You need to click an X symbol to delete a step. Let's add an index column, starting from 1, because it will correspond to the row number. To identify if we have duplicated rows in the new file, let's group the rows by all columns except index. We need the rows to be counted. So the column count will indicate if the rows are duplicated. And we will also need a nested table with all rows. Let's expand the column with the nested tables. And we will only need the index column, because all other columns were already grouped by. So this way, we will have the duplicate count and keep all rows. Let's also add a custom column called File with a single entry, Old File. This column will be necessary to identify which file the records came from. We will need to perform the same steps in the query for the new file as well. And here is a trick. The steps in Power Query get recorded as M code. So go to View and Advanced Editor for the first query, copy the steps, go to the second query, and in the Advanced Editor, paste them. Don't forget to adjust the previous step accordingly, and the comma. The only difference is that the entry in the File column this time should be New File. To identify the records that don't match, let's merge the two queries. First, let's select the two tables Then press down the Control key and select the matching columns in the order that they have to be matched. The order is very important for correct matching. With this method, we can identify changed records even if the rows or columns got moved and the position of the records changed. The columns index and file should not be matched because by design they should be different. We also need to choose the join kind, and unfortunately there is no join just to keep the mismatched records from both files. So you can choose left anti or right anti, but I will choose full outer, so all rows from both. Let's duplicate this merge query and in the first merge query, let's keep only rows where index is equal to null. Those are rows where nested table contains new records with no matches in the old file. Let's just keep the column with a nested table and expand it to show all columns. Now in the second merge query, let's expand the column with the nested tables and if you noticed, Power Query is slightly changing the column names by adding 1 at the end because same column names are not allowed. And let's keep the rows where the new index column is equal to null. This way we keep the rows from the old file that have no matches in the new file. And let's only keep the columns from the old file. What I am trying to achieve is to have same column names in both merge queries, because I'm going to append them, so basically stack them on top of one another. And for this to work, I need to have same column names. After appending the two merged queries, let's sort the rows based on index, which represents the row number. Now we can see the changed records and their position in the old and new files. Here you can already see that the data formatting does not match. Let's change the type of the date column to text. Power Query cannot store mixed types in one column, and it will try to infer the column type automatically and choose number because serial numbers can represent dates. So when I will load the data now, all dates will get converted to numbers and you will not recognize the difference in date formatting anymore. But Power Query can store everything as text, and we can keep the difference in formatting. And records that don't match in both files are identified correctly. We may have many columns to work with, so how can we identify the switched position of a column using Power Query? Let's double-click on a query to open up the Power Query editor. And duplicate the very first query where the old file gets loaded. Remove the steps until changed type. So let's demote them by making the headers the first row. Let's keep only the first row. And transpose them, meaning the row will become a column. Add an index, which will represent the column number or position, and add the suffix old to the column names. Let's go to the advanced editor and copy the code with these changes. Duplicate the second query with the loading of the new file, and in the advanced editor, paste the same steps. Just old needs to be changed to new in the column names. And merge both queries. For the matching, just use the headers column so that we can see the change in the index, meaning column position. Expand and let's add a custom column called Difference. If the indexes match per row, then the result should be 0. Else, 1 should be returned. And let's filter the ones. Then remove this column altogether because it served its purpose. Reorder the columns. By comparing the two index columns, we can see that the positions of the columns in the two files have changed. Let's close and load. By the way, if you would like to use my files, please don't forget in the source step of both queries to adjust the path to where you save them. The third method to find the differences between the two files is to use Microsoft Spreadsheet Compare. This tool highlights changes in formulas, values, formats, and much more, even macros. You can find Spreadsheet Compare in the Start menu. In the version of Microsoft Office Professional Plus that I'm using, it is under Microsoft Office Tools. In the Home tab, click Compare Files. The Compare Files dialog box will appear. Select the files that you want to compare. Click OK to run the comparison. The results of the comparison can be viewed in a two-pane grid with color-coded differences. You can also choose the options you want to see in the results by checking or unchecking the relevant options. The check options are color-coded. I have green and red, so that stands for entered values, structural differences, and cell format. So let's take a look at them one by one. Cell format check identified the date formatting as number correctly. Structural check identified an added row, which was the duplicate. And it also identified the row with the changed team name, though it says that the row was deleted and added again. But that seems to be because of the duplicated row. Otherwise, the wrong team name should have been recognized as a changed value. Entered values check is considering the position of the records, so it identified the column shifting as changed values. Spreadsheet Compare is very handy for comparing Excel files, but unfortunately, it is only available for Office Professional Plus or Microsoft 365 apps for Enterprise. So depending on your Office version, you may need to use Power Query instead. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe for more interesting content like this.